Donald Trump has just announced a new and major trade deal with the United Kingdom. Yes, a trade deal with two countries who are basic consumers. Work that out. Alright, just think about it for a moment. Both consumers. We have, in the United States, a consumer culture. In the United Kingdom, we have a consumer culture. Now, I will be talking about this in more detail later in another video. But I just wanted to bring this up because, quite frankly, I think the United States is done. I think it's done for regarding trade. It's pretty much ostracised every single country out there. Now, when I look at what's going on in the United States and how it's treating every other country around the world, and unions such as the European Union, they're using terminology and phrases and arrogance and threats, tariffs. And the world is kind of standing up and pushing back. Because you see, when you meet a force, often it's met by an equal or greater force. There's pushback. Canada's pushing back, Mexico's pushing back, France is pushing back, the rest of the European Union have been pushing back, the UK was even pushing back. Yes, they've got a trade deal now. But like I'll explain in another video, it's not worth much. No. Now the thing is, you see, China and the European Union have just a bit rushed through, actually. You know, they've been talking about it for some time. They've been negotiating it for some time. But because of Donald Trump, it's come to a head. And President Xi's been doing his rounds regarding trying to build up the Chinese economy to replace the 13% of goods that were being sent to the United States. Don't forget, they weren't just trading with the United States, remember. They were trading with the world. They are the world's producer. They just are. Just like we say about Ukraine being the breadbasket of the world. They've just agreed with the European Union to have a more open and mutual arrangement. Now, Maris Sefcovic, about a month ago, was talking about this and saying, yeah, we need to get this wrapped up. And today, or was actually yesterday, I think it was, it actually has been wrapped up. Now, this is going to damage the United States even further, because I know, Mag, I don't think there's any problems, you know, we're doing really well in the United States, yeah, everything's great, you know, we're deporting every Tom, Dick and Harry, that's great and all, ain't it? Yeah, all the people, you need to work the factories, work the farms, etc., etc. You're crippling your own farming industry. Again. You did this last time, you fucking morons. Seriously, you voted for a man, and again, who quite frankly destroyed your economy last time, and now, after Joe Biden managed to, bring it back to a win, you cripple it all over again. The farmers are screwed. The exports to China, which, you know, beef and soybean and what have you, they're just stopped. China's got the opportunity and the power to go elsewhere. Now, you were the largest economy. Oh, well, I'm sorry, that's going to be old news very soon. China will be the world's largest economy. Just will. Now, in the United States, it used to do quite well, didn't it, you know? Soft power and, hard power and all, but, you know, it had its place in the world as being that superpower. But superpower isn't just about how big your rockets are. It's also about how you can manipulate markets, how you can control markets, how you can have a dominant hand in relations. Oh, we don't want to upset the United States. No, people aren't thinking about that anymore. Countries are saying, sod it. Now, the United States is more dependent on China than China is on the United States. Now, to me, it's just logical. you're never going to be able to bring back your manufacturing into the United States in a sensible time frame. It doesn't happen. It's took decades to get into the condition it's in at the moment. You're actually doing pretty well, even though China was producing most of your product. And yes, you could argue that, well, it just we were potentially helping fund the Red Army. Yes, you are, but you're also doing it via your bonds. The dollar. The dollar's considered as a secure currency. It used to be, we used to use the gold, didn't we? Invest in gold. It's safe. The dollar was safe, not anymore. They go back to the dollar or other currencies, such as the euro. This is just madness. And an idiot is defined by making that same mistake again and again and again. And while the United States keep threatening other countries, for Christ's sake, J.D. Vance is just threatening visitors to the United States coming to the Olympics. That's going to be a rather empty Olympics, I'll tell you. Yeah, you'll come to the Olympics, but you better go. And, we will deport you. We will let cosplay Christy Gnomes look after you. Otherwise, you'll stick you in them cages. Why would anyone take the risk? The visitor numbers are going to be well low, which means there'll be less foreign money coming in. It's an export. Other people's money. Just like your tourist industry is completely and utterly screwed. Because of Donald Trump. And this insane immigration policy. The United States is on the watch list as a human rights offender. Would you ever thought you ever heard that? No, that's not true. Well, in fact, all is. Don't blame me, look it up. 52% of people in the United States now believe that the United States could become Nazi Germany. I think you're at a stage now where you need to be thinking about, maybe we need a coup d'etat. I'm not trying to say, that's what you got to do, but maybe that is, I don't know. I'm not cool with that sort of stuff, but you need to do something. Protesting's not going to do it. Not with this government. Yes, I know, hound your MPs and what have you, and your councils or wherever you can. Just hound. Do it. Do that as well. But you need to go a step further. I did say it before in the previous video, but I'm shocked, actually, to say the least, what is actually happening in the United States. This is like, the United States could be one of the axis of evil now. End of the day, as some fascists, they like to play with other fascists, like Putin, for instance, They're like that, they are. Donald Trump, the US president, dum-dum. Anyway, happy to the like button. Well, you see, I just watch this stuff going on, all right? And I not just myself, other people as well. What the fuck is going on? When are the people going to rise up? Yes, there's protests. It's not enough. I commend people for doing it. I do. Obviously, I commend people for doing it, but it's not enough. It's almost too late. Within a couple of months, the United States is, well, it's not the same. It's not the same country now, but he only needs a couple more months. A couple more months, and that's it. It's done. Completely and utterly done for. Some people argue it's done for now. You see, the relationships that the United States had, there's my compressor in the background, the United States had its relationships with other countries, and the other countries are just pushing back. Like I say, they just had enough. You threatened fucking Greenland. For God's sake, Denmark, you know. Oh, well, we haven't ruled out, a military force to take Greenland. We must have Greenland. Still going on about the 51st state. You know, Canada. Even though Mark Carney made it quite clear that was never going to happen. But no, Donald Trump is still saying this crap. And yet you've got Xi Jinping and Europe, Brussels and Beijing appear to be moving closer to approachment under the shadow of Donald Trump's disruptive policies. This is in the Euro news. So the signs of diplomatic reset between the European Union and China continue to intensify despite Beijing doubling down on its no-limits partnership with Moscow, which until recently was considered to sort of disqualified China, but not now. It's all open arms now. Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission, and Antonio Costa, the President of the European Council, exchanged messages on Tuesday with President Xi Jinping and Premier Li Qiang, celebrating the 50th anniversary of bilateral relations. And so upbeat. In an upbeat tone, the statements highlight the mutual willingness to advance the cooperation in areas of common interest and tackle global challenges. So European Union countries are saying that we're open to China, which we weren't before. And why is that? Because of Donald Trump. Because of Donald Trump. And no about Ferret, U-turn now will make any bloody difference. The damage is done. The only thing that could be a positive turn is if this regime, Donald Trump's regime, is out of office, is out of the White House. That is the only thing that is going to make things better. And even then, it is going to take years, if not a decade. And that'll be with a decent government in place. A decent leader in place. Now, to be fair to the European Union, the UK might not say so, but the European Union is actually quite pragmatic. As long as, it's a rules-based system, as long as their rules are abided by, and with a bit of a flexibility if needed, like they've done with China, it's not just going to be, a switch. Things didn't click. No. Donald Trump and his regime is systematically destroying the United States relationship. It's soft power, it's hard power, the US AID, that was powerful in its own right. All people can say is money. All that money should be going to our own people. Well, in a roundabout way it is. You see. If you want to have what you had, well then quite frankly you need to be involved. Cutting yourself off from the world is not going to do you any bloody favours in a world where you are dependent on everything around you in this big globe, and no, it's not flat, okay? Fucking idiots, bloody flat earthers. I suppose they're the sort of people who vote for Donald Trump. Actually, they are, actually. I've seen some interviews like that. But, I don't know. Anyway, please move the like button and maybe subscribe to the channel, little bell icon, because then you get one fuzzy video in your pocket every time I upload another video. And if you want to support the channel a little bit, there's super thanks and buy me coffees and stuff like that down below in the description. Also, I think the super thanks just stand there if you want to. You don't have to, obviously. If you can't do it, just beat the like button. But like a lot of these channels, like this one and others, who they wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be here without the support. They just wouldn't, because people have to live, just like you. We all have to live. We're not rich. You might think, oh, crikey, you do it then. Oh, well, no, because I don't get a food. You know, you might get, certain networks like Midas Touch, they're earning an absolute fortune. They are, to be fair. But they're good, you know, they deserve it, you know. And there's others as well, I can't think of the top of my head. I don't watch that many of them, to be fair. But yeah, anyway, you tell me. Please leave it in the comments down below. Oh, blimey, what an utter fucking mess. That's what happens when you vote for a fucking orange buffoon. A president. Dum-dum.